Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this forum for results presentation in climate change with Mexico and the European Union, with the subnational policies for adapting climate change for the water sector, as well as the chain-free implementation of the dialogues in Mexico. Welcome, everyone, and welcome everyone that are in the streaming online. Good morning. I would like to introduce the people that are with us this morning. Your Excellence, Gautier Mignot, Ambassador of the European Union in Mexico. Dr. Sol Ortiz García. Dr. Sol Ortiz García, General Director of Prospection Policies and Climate Change from the Ministry of Agriculture. And Karol González, Director of Environment and Climate Change from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I'll ask Laura Vallejo Chávez, who is the correspondent on climate change from the European Union in Mexico. Please, can you take the microphone? So, Your Excellency, please. Good morning, everyone, and I would like to greet my colleagues on the front and to each of you, even the ones that are watching us online. For me, it is a overwhelming moment. It's my last public moment as ambassador of the Public Union, and for me, it's very symbolic that it's for closing this program on dialogues on climate change in the European Union, which is a priority issue of our agenda within the European Union and international cooperation and participating here in Mexico. So I'm really, really glad, thank you, to be here with you this morning and congratulate you and see all the state and federal governing bodies, the diplomatic union, company representatives, civil union society organizations, and everyone around in these dialogues. These dialogues are part of a global program for information on climate change, which is developed in 19 strategic countries for the European Union, where undoubtedly Mexico is an emblematic partner. Through this program, we have looked for policies and state policies and foreign policies where we can strengthen the dialogue on two urgent issues to attend, that it's water and the forests. And today we will share the results on this effort. During the last weeks, as you already know, we have had important elections in European Union and Mexico, and we congratulate first that democracy has won from both sides of the Atlantic. On the next 5 years, there will still be in the European Union a block of commitment with the strategy and the objectives of the Green Pact of the European Union, with representatives of the European Commission, which has been re-elected for a second administration last week by the European Parliament. The European Union is still strong on its objective for climate change for 2050. And as you already know, our Climate Act has been linking for this act, and there's no other option than do everything in our hands to comply with it. Our intermediate for greenhouse effects and the objective for 2040, which establishes the European Union for a reduction at 90%, according to the levels of 1990. These objectives are there to remind us that there's no time to lose. And part of our commitment and efforts to continue are the initiatives adopted recently by the European legislation. Just to talk about the last weeks, there has been a series of regulation frameworks that are very important adopted in the last years to be part of our European Union as more sustainable union. The regulation on nature restoration, the directive on the regulations for zero net emissions, the law on life diligence on sustainability, regulation on ecologic design, and just on Monday, on July 22, last Monday, the regulation on the digital labeling of fertilizer products. And evidently, our commitment with the partner countries still on. European Union cooperates with Mexico through different programs and projects with a very tight collaboration with the member states and in the spirit of Europe to project our global gateway here in Mexico and other countries along with our companies. And I'm very happy to see that a lot of state members are here with us today. We are also wishful to strengthen our political dialogues and our projects on cooperation with the new administration of the new elected president, Claudia Sheinbaum. With global gateways, it will be a force, liberty to give coherence to these efforts in voice of the battle against climate change and of a green re-election to be inclusive, to be fair, that we hope very soon for the benefit of our own communities in our planet. That's why today, besides presenting results on climate change in these two products for water and forests from the European Union, we are reframing to keep cooperating with Mexico in implementation of the NDC for its contribution determined nationally and its eventually update on 2025, as well as other issues of the green agenda. As the panel mentioned on climate change, that besides the process, the adaptation gaps will keep growing. And besides that, the adaptation programs are not enough, especially in countries on development. That's why I'm very happy that for both projects in climate change have a scope and a notable ambition contributing to close this gap in adaptation issues. Time goes by very fast. Just a year ago, June 2023, in the framework of the visit of the heads of mission of the European Union to Ciudad Victoria in Tamaulipas, we started in those days these dialogues on climate change along with 14 ambassadors, diplomatic body, and the governor of the state of Tamaulipas, Américo Villarreal. And in this issue, we developed a case study of the river Pánuco. Today, it's a reality that our colleagues from Pronatura will present along with other 3 case studies of the different watersheds in the Rio Yaqui, the Cuatzamala system, and the watershed in Yucatan. Year after this adaptation and climate change program, we can see its relevance given the dryness in Mexico, and that in June 15, 2023, just 36% of the municipalities were presented a level of dryness. That 15 July, but this year, 2024, the country will be different, given that 86% of the Mexican territory was a level of dryness. Subsequently, as the Bank of Mexico reported on its quarterly report, this dryness can have an impact up to 80% of the agriculture production in the national level. That's its maximum level from January 2016. The rains on June and July are giving us a break, but we have clear that the water stress will keep expressing on the following years. So as well as we are concerned, we need to have regulatory and remedy measures. In the framework of this project, we also developed a framework report for subnational policies for the adaptation to climate change, which it considers recommendations both from the strategy of the European Union as well as the directive of water in its implementation has shown that governance, effective governance, it's essential for preventing these issues in climate change. Water and climate change are a priority for this and the following administration in the federal level. A proof of this that Dr. Claudia Sheinbaum on Tuesday, 23 July 23, it's shown its interest on water projects along with other social programs and for infrastructure. will take an investment of 300,000 million pesos. Now, I will focus on our second project, that is on climate change issues, have allowed us to socialize in an European act that help us to prevent deforestation inside and outside this union with the EUDR by its name in English. During this last year, given this regulation published on June 2023, we have considerable progress in here. We don't have any other option that the effectiveness it's provided for late this year. With this urgency is that we decided to develop this project. Through these three dialogues that we had in this context, two here in Mexico City and one in Merida, along with other platforms that have been developed in parallel, we have created a critical mass regarding this issue, sharing information and experiences, and we clarify relevant questions regarding the UDR in Mexico and the 7 products or raw materials that are covered in this regulation. During this morning, you will listen more about this issue with some experts. Sustain Lum, the service provider for this project, presenting as a result an analysis, integral analysis, implications, specific implications of the UDR implementation in Mexico, along with recommendations from both international cooperation as private sector, the governments, and other bodies. And with this project, we are adding voices from people that are producers, from coffee producers, cacao producers, palm oil, government from the orders, the national and European government, with the academy, all of us with the common objective to reduce deforestation in Mexico and to work in sustainable agriculture for this and future generations. It's important to remember that with this project, European Union are actually supporting the Mexico government with its implementation of the NDC, given that it's the update in 2022. Mexico ratified its commitment to reach the net rate of zero deforestation and to keep implementing the national strategy for reducing emissions by deforestation and forest degradation in RED+. I would like to thank the experts that contribute for the development of these documents with its recommendations and suggestions that are presented today, to the more than 500 people participating in both projects, assisting in online or in person to the different workshops. I would like to thank particularly to my team in the delegation for this project. That please give it up for Javier and Laura that were essential for this project. Also, our allies, Pronatura and Sustain Alum, for its effort and work during these last months. Very valuable work. Thank you very much for your effort. We have to recognize that these efforts is not stays only in this event. We hope that its recommendations and conclusions can be taken in advantage by all the different bodies and actors that are interested, that can be the perspective for future projects, and that its knowledge from these events can be disseminated by all of you. These are my closing words for this opening, communicating that the program for climate change policies on the European Union will have a next phase, which I hope it can be as successful as this one. And I hope that all the event today can be with great results. Thank you very much again. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you very much, uh, sir, for your words. I'll ask Dr. Sol Ortiz Garcia, General Director of Policies, Prospection, and Climate Change from the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Please. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, to all the people that are here with us. It is an honor to be here, and on behalf of Dr. Victor Villalobos, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, I thank the delegation of European Union in Mexico for inviting us in the closing of these dialogues on policies and measures in order to reduce deforestation and strengthen resiliency against climate change. For the Ministry of Agriculture, it's an honor to have dialogues with key figures like you, sir, Gautier Mignot, Ambassador of the European Union in Mexico, given that this will make easier the strengthening on results between our governments and contributing in our production activities as the agriculture and production activities can keep and increase its sustainable level, as well as have access to markets that allow these products. I congratulate the Public Affairs Ministry, part of this event, and I would like to greet as well Dr. Adrian Fernandez, that I think he's not here, but he will be participating in this agenda. I hope so, because with him we have collaborated with the initiative in Mexico, and I greet our colleagues Ana Maria and Danae from Sustainum, which we have worked very closely. In the last session, we exposed different good practices for the compliance of the regulation on the European Union that goes over supply chains free of deforestation, that it's the main topic that we've been following closely from the Ministry of Agriculture. I remember that on that time, three aspects caught my attention by the challenge that it represents. One related to the complexity that traceability has on the different products for which we have to demonstrate that deforestation was not incurred. The geographic information systems are not completely reliable at validating with certainty the information. Another aspect it's related to costs of this traceability and what these costs represent for the producers. Who is really assuming this cost and how it will impact on the sale prices on small producers? And finally, in a way, this legislation will place producers in a situation of vulnerability, especially the small producers, when these cannot demonstrate that they are not incurred on deforestation. These are complex issues, and I hope that part of the results that we listen today we could attend these concerns and probably some other ones that will be coming up in the moment of the implementation of these policies. As well as we did it on the last session, I would like to remind you that the collaboration institutions from the government and civil society and private sector, national and international collaborations, result fundamental for optimizing resources and synergies and improving results so all together can cover the due diligence of these and some more other issues with the commitment of ensuring that the commercialization of free deforestation products can be a reality without affecting most of the producers, particularly the ones that are doing its activity with more responsibility in the environment and a commitment for our country and for the production chains. I celebrate today we can provide a special emphasis on issues on water related to climate change as well as deforestation. And this is an issue that we are also following close to our hearts in the Ministry of Agriculture because our minister have mentioned since the beginning that it's important to measure production in tons by hectare, but it's also very relevant to have a clear idea of how much water we're using and to have these measures in terms of tons by square meter. We have a project now in order to estimate the water footprint on the different spreading systems for the different 29 more important cultivations. And this is also very well related to the perspective that we are providing and that you, Ambassador, mentioned regarding the vision that the colleagues will present with the new administration. Water resources are an essential part from a system that is quite complex, that is the availability of these resources, that it depends on healthy soil and biodiversity. Climate change climate change affects this present situation and these resources, by which it's fundamental to recognize a systemic mechanism for the implementation of these regulations. A focus that considers as well production factors, conservation, markets, the human factor, and well-being from women and men on field. The regulation on the European Union for free deforestation products contribute without a doubt to settle the baseline for countries like Mexico to strengthen our regulation frameworks and legal frameworks to attain profound and a coordinated way deforestation that it's still a great challenge for us. As I mentioned during the third dialogue on May 16th, there is agreement between the regulation of European Union and Mexican legislation aiming to prevent deforestation. We are working to promote traceability for free deforestation products, and in the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, along with the CONAVIO and the economic development of the JZ, we are developing a diversity friendly application that will affect cocoa, coffee, and honey very soon for other cultivations as well. We hope to implement these brand and related practices, these friendly practices that are biodiversity friendly shortly. And to get to the point that the food production cannot be possible by effects of the climate variability, by effects of the high presence of plagues and diseases, and all of this in consequence from irreversible effects on the biodiversity of the ecosystems from which these services depend so much, these ecosystems like water filtration, carbon hydration, the nutrient cycle, and just to mention some of these services that are directly related to the provision and food safety. In Mexico, we are in a transition process. As we already mentioned, we have very clear with all public officers in our offices, and we're sure that with the new government, the commitment to reduce deforestation and to make an efficient handling of water, this have been now present in the new administration. As you mentioned, it is clear on the policy of our elected president, Dr. Claudia Sheinbaum. So we are confident that with the support of different institutions, we will stop deforestation and forest degradation in the priority areas and to make a correct handle of water. Today we have a very interesting agenda. We will listen about water administration, management, and the projects on free deforestation chains. I congratulate, honestly, this initiative for this dialogue, and I hope that we can have a very productive day that, besides promoting these results, it can take us to the implementation of the recommendations. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Dr. Ortiz Garcia. We would like to invite now Karol Hernández, Director of Climate Change of the Ministry of Public Affairs. I don't know if I have to use the stool, but good morning, everyone, colleagues, friends. I see a lot of known faces to people here at front, Dr. Sol and Mr. Mignot. It's an honor. Please, from the counselor, from we thank the invitation to this event. On Councillor, we recognize that facing climate change is a great challenge for different sectors. That's why we value the participation and the importance of establishing synergies and collaborating with different bodies like the initiatives that the European Union is promoting. By a joint effort, we can build a effective resiliency that can promote economic development, that is sustainable, and social well-being. The Public Affairs Ministry is committed now to strengthen strategic alliances from which we are proud to be part from global efforts, regional efforts, national and subnational efforts that are looking for a sustainable future through a social economic transition, to be fair. In the context of a multi-crisis in the environment, as we mentioned, we reaffirm the relevance that the sustainable management of public resources and reduction of deforestation are key factors in order to mitigate the effects of climate change and attend the loss of biodiversity. Our country has implemented robust policies covering the watershed protection, promoting agriculture practices that are sustainable, and the recognition and fostering community forest management, which has been an important part in the territories, but also for strengthening the governance, local and forest governance. However, we all know that we need to increase the scale in order to reduce deforestation, the change of use of soil, but also for adjusting markets. Regarding the water management for this country, it is a priority, as has been mentioned before, given that we are facing significant effects on the advance of deforestation, dryness that it's so severe, and distribution of water resources. For Chancellor Marcena, this is also part as a future Minister of Environment is one of the issues that will be covered as a priority. And to address these challenges, the country has implemented policies that mainly distributed the protection on hydrographic and interrelation with the watersheds, with the conservation and the sustainable management of ecosystem. In the framework of the Paris Agreement, Mexico has covered different commitments, as you know, in order to reduce its emissions of greenhouse gases. And we have strengthened our policies adapting to climate change, recognizing the needs, but also the different contributions and proposals from our communities. However, as I mentioned before, given the impact derived from climate change, we need to increase every year the scope of our actions. We understand that attending these efforts on climate change requires a collective action. That's why from the Cancellery, we promote the collaboration with different stakeholders, including indigenous peoples, women organizations, and youth people organizations, international organisms, civil society, and the private sector. This collaboration by different sectors is crucial for the implementation and development of innovative solutions that are effective. In the international environment, it is also an active participant on strategic alliances for climate resiliency. We are participating in global and regional actions that look for sharing knowledge, experiences, technologies, but also, and very important to mention, to move financial resources from all the sources. So we are convinced that international cooperation is essential in order to address the different climate problems in an integral and coordinated way. That's why today we recognize and thank as well the important work from the European Union through these two projects that will be presented its results today. And finally, from the Cancellery, I would like to thank the presentation and to share these progresses, indicators, and this data that has been managed to this time that these dialogues have been and these initiatives have been covered. And as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, we reestablish our synergy to promote coordination, inter-minister and intersectoral management, as well as the strategic alliances towards climate action. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now we would like to ask for bringing Laura Vallejo Chavez, the correspondent from the European Union in Mexico. Thank you very much, everyone here, and thanks to the people that are following us at Zoom. I would like to thank the panel. Thank you, Ambassador Carolina, Doctor. Thank you, all the people that are here from since Dialogue 1. Thank you to the representatives for the member states. And well, thank my colleagues that are in Brussels online. Javier, of course, which I think the adjective unreachable, it's also for him, for his unconditional support for bringing this to the front. This will be very short. I mean, we're here to listen to the results, mainly from the people that developed them. So I just would like to give a very simple background and then go to the next slide. I think I have a pointer. I don't know if somebody can help me out. We have four objectives. I will be very short, and all of these cover to support to the countries that are emissioners that I will mention for the implementation of the Paris Agreement. I always make this emphasis. This project is for climate diplomacy and not technical assistance. I will I will mention why in a moment. We are on 19 countries as the ambassador mentioned already. It is important to know that here we are also this dialogue comes by Mexico, by United States, Japan, New Zealand. So it is not a very traditional project from development countries. That's why this emphasize on that it's climate diplomacy. Here in Mexico, we have our main counterparts that are having companies, academies, government from three levels, from the three orders, civil society organizations, and well, I will focus very quick on the first dialogue that is related to adaptation and water.
Mr. Ambassador also mentioned this before, that we are sharing this instrument, which is a Green Pact in Europe. And well, here you have, those are our, well, not our, because I'm not European, but those are the pacts from the European Union and from the institution that I represent. Well, I can add myself to this pact. So these are the regulations by which we have been governing us, and I want to emphasize on what we consider for this project, also the different lines for the access of the NDCS. You recall there's one about water management, so this is a very important interest for these goals to support compliance with these Paris agreements. We took it from there, and then we rebuilt this goal, which was to develop a framework and adapting measures to reduce risks and impacts for climate change, improving resilience in the water sector at a short, mid, and long term, based on nature, adapting on the ecosystems as well. So I just want to emphasize the point that this model or this framework document is unique at the state level. We only created one program about regarding this adaptation to climate change by 2019 in Guadalajara, Jalisco, which was specific from adaptation. The state plans are for each country, but the adaptation plan is only in Jalisco. So in this state, and we hope that these can be very useful for the other states. The important part of this is also that it's focused on the water sector. So here we have the four basins that the ambassador also mentioned, and the dialogue. So I eventually give the floor to Regina so that she can share all of this experience with you. And regarding the second project, our umbrella is the Green European Pact. And here we were emphasizing particularly the implementation of the UDR. And well, I want to stop right here and tell the people that have been joining us and people that are joining us in Zoom, if someone wants to raise their hand and tell us how important participation has been for this project when we've had this engagement. during these three dialogues. And please tell me, raise your hands, how much or how little do you know about the UDR, and how much are you having the sensation or the feeling that this has been useful for you? Just as a reflection, if anyone wants to raise hands here on site or by Zoom. Well, it appears that only Gloria wants to share, but well, definitely we have to, spread the word about what we have done. I think that's a main task after this. And well, the second part would be for the people who have been there also to own these. And the ambassador also mentioned that. In terms of context, Mr. Ambassador also mentioned these, and I just want to repeat that it is as a goal is very clear to support this bilateral commitment. The actions, Gloria will also go further into these. It will explain further, and one document of analysis that has some technical specifications, and it's pretty solid within this framework, as well as gathering of methods and tools so that these can reach all of the people that are located in the mountains or where there's no internet, like in Oaxaca. And I just want to mention that why these dialogues are important and why I told you that this is not technical assistance, but it went beyond these climate diplomacy. We had five multi-sectorial dialogues. We had to reference document 20 technical presentations for adaptation of water and 24 in forest matters. And remember that all of these, it's at your disposal at any time, because the questions that we generated there are also important for getting more knowledge. And we also have the compendium of this information and involvement of 5 federal ministries, the participation of 5 states, the participation of the member states. I counted more than 9 member states of the European Union as active participants, and 2 updated websites and for the information of project. And well, after the closure of this project as well, there will be more. And these also the dialogue groups about these topics. It's important for us to know that the information is available in English and Spanish. And well, our colleagues at Brussels that are joining us right now are able to see this information in English as well. So I will wrap up with this, and I'm very pleased to have coordinated this project, and I want to invite you and tell you that climate change is our responsibility, and it's in our hands to work on this, and we have to win this battle against climate change. There's a big compendium of information that and instruments that will contribute to decrease the impacts and whatever comes next for our future generations. So thank you very much. And well, I just want to invite you just to real quick take a picture of all of us that are here present. So Mr. Ambassador, is it okay here or the stairs? Let's go to the stairs to show that this city looks very green today.